Welcome to Revisiting Avengers Mightiest Heroes, Part 4, Volume 4. Let's talk about the final, 7 episodes of Avengers Mightiest Heroes Season 1. So, this has 5 absolute banger episodes, but we do have to start off with, the first two episodes. And you want to know, these are pretty good episodes, but comparatively they aren't as great as the last 5. Starting off with the Casket of Ancient Winters. This is a pretty good episode where Iron Man and Thor sort of have a clashing ideology because one of them believes strongly in magic and the other in science. And of course Black Panther, who goes with them on this adventure to stop Mightiest from freezing the entire world, understands, thanks to him being from Wakanda, that science and magic are essentially the same. And yeah, that's the episode. It's really good. I don't know if Mightiest is as complex in the, as he is in the Chris Claremont comics. Chris Claremont, forgive me, I mumbled that in those comics. But he's better than he was in Dark World. And this has some also fun character interactions involving the Wasp and Hawkeye by a pool before, of course, the casket gets opened. And Hulk even gets frozen in the pool, and that's fun. But this is a bit more of a more serious episode because Mightiest is going to freeze the entire world. And yeah, it's fun. Overall, good time with this episode. And of course, it is connected to the overall plot with Loki trying to take over Asgard, as we will see at the end of this season. So that's nice. Next is Hail Hydra, episode 21. This is the conclusion of the Black Widow is a double agent for Hydra storyline. And if you've watched all 4 parts or all 3 parts leading up to this, you'll know that I'm not really a big fan of the storyline because I don't like this version of Black Widow. And that's true, I just don't. I feel like she just is weak compared to her MCU character. And I don't know, I feel like Vanessa Marshall is doing this weird ovulation thing between Russian accent and American accent, and I can't tell if that's on purpose or not, or if she is possibly just not good at a Russian accent. I mean, I've seen her in things where she's good, like Spectacular Spider-Man and Star Wars Rebels, but maybe she just couldn't cut the mustard, and who knows. This episode does also have some fun. This episode is about AIM and Hydra fighting over the Cosmic Cube because they believe that the Cosmic Cube, if you touch it, it will grant you any wish. Of course, Captain America has some nice moments, one of which is with a Hulk saying, "Look, man, I don't see you as a monster." As we know, Hulk has had a chip on his shoulder this entire show about being perceived as a monster. Hell, he even leaves the Avengers in episode 8 because he thinks that everyone sees him as a monster. And Cap's like, "Look, bro, I don't see it that way. You get up every single day and you are a hero. You just do, everything in your power to make sure that everyone's safe. You are a hero in my book. Let's go smash some monsters." And it's super nice and fun, and it's a good moment and shows why Captain America is up there in the high echelon of superheroes alongside Spider-Man, Batman, and Superman. And yeah, it's fun. Of course, Cap does end up touching the cube at the same time as Strucker, but he wishes for Bucky to be alive, and we do see Bucky be alive at the end of this episode. And it's nice. Here's a sentence you didn't think you would hear post 19, but Josh Whedon was right. Hawkeye and Black Widow should be platonic friends because they do kind of have a kiss at the end of this episode. This feels weird. It feels like it's not how this relationship should be. And granted, their kiss is bathed in shadow because I guess Disney XD didn't want them to show kissing, but it still feels very oh, like, you're, like, this is not how their relationship should be. They should be like brother and sister. This is weird. Like, yeah, like, Mockingbird talked about it in the last volume like it was a breakup, but, like, Mockingbird seems like a butt. Like, we didn't have to validate Mockingbird with having them kiss. And you also have Maria Hill in this episode, basically be telling Iron Man, look, you cannot be doing this. You cannot be Avengering in New York anymore. I want the Avengers to be S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. I'm going to go to the president. I'm going to go to the Senate. And, basically force the Avengers and force several superheroes to, register and become agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She's a villain. She's a horrible person. Not really a villain, but more of an wow, I cannot speak tonight. More of an antagonist. She's also the government, and this is a great example of why you should not trust the government, kids. Don't trust them. But yeah, overall, a really good start to this volume, but obviously it gets better because we have the Ultron duology and the Fall of Asgard trilogy. Let's start with Ultron first. So Ultron 5 and the Ultron Imperative are about Ultron. He wants to get rid of humanity because he sees humanity as flawed. He wants to get rid of humanity and start a race of super intelligent robots. So he wants to take out the Avengers and eventually use S.H.I.E.L.D. and the rest of the world's governments to essentially launch nukes and wipe out the entire planet. And this episode, or these two episodes, do a really good job at being like, oh wow, Ultron's like actually like really scary. And yeah, he is. And I will say he's actually has a bit more of a layer of terror this viewing for me because of how progressive AI, or how much AI has progressed over the last few years. Like, last year we had the writer's strike, the actor's strike because of AI. Several different things like banks and Google have AI services now. Like, AI has become surprisingly really prominent over like the last year. And I mean, it makes Ultron a bit more scarier because unlike a decade ago, AI feels strangely real. Of course, Tom Kane, a brilliant actor who played, of course, Yoda in Star Wars The Clone Wars, knocks it out of the park. He's actually reprising this role of Ultron from one of the Lionsgate Marvel animated feature movies, Next Avengers, Heroes of Tomorrow, which is actually a pretty good movie. Most of those films were actually pretty good. I may review them soon. And they're most certainly on my wish list to review one day. That being said, I think this episode, or these two episodes, do a really good job at making Ultron seem scary and having a really good relationship dynamic for Janet and Pym, for Hank. Hank is a pacifist in the show, and he doesn't enjoy fighting, and he's like, look, the Avengers aren't really there to rehabilitate the criminals like me. And honestly, I'm only really here because of the Wasp. I don't want to be an Avenger anymore. So he quits, and Janet's like, look, you can't quit. We're Avengers. And this episode sees him quit. And it's sort of been like a thing that's, I think, kind of been stirring in the background. But it's nice that this show has enough emotional maturity to show essentially these two break up. And you kind of understand, I mean, Hank is not as a complete of a dirtbag as he is in the comics, so that kind of helps. But, like, you kind of understand, like, yeah, I mean, Hank is a pacifist. That's a way, that's understandable. And, of course, Janet is the party girl who, she even says firemen live in the firehouse. She loves this. And it's very interesting to see these two characters kind of clash because they love each other, but it's somehow a less toxic Ross and Rachel relationship type thing. And it's fun, and I love the Ultron trilogy. It also has a really cool moment with Thor. Thor seemingly gets evaporated by Ultron, and to everyone's surprise. And it turns out that Ultron did not kill Thor. Thor, in turn, is sitting in a lovely meadow with the Enchantress, who loves him. And he's like, wait, I'm not supposed to be here. My friends need me. And Enchantress is like, no, boo-boo. You just need to, so he tries to magic hand him, and he's like, bitch, please, send me to my friends, or I will shock you with electricity. And she sends him back, and of course with the threat of what could possibly come. And what possibly could come is the Fall of Asgard trilogy. It has been a long day, y'all. This, I'll be frank, this is my second take, and I feel like I'm slightly flubbing my lines, but my sister was sick. I had to take care of my niece today. I'm not blaming my niece. I love my niece. I'm so happy that she's in my life as much as she is. But whew, it's been a long day, y'all. Shout out to my niece. Eventually, one day, you will watch my YouTube channel. But yeah, that leads us to episodes 24 to 26. This Hostage Earth, The Fall of Asgard, and A Day Unlike Any Other. These episodes are about the Avengers get called to take on the Masters of Evil, because the Masters of Evil have these things called the Norn Stones. And they are these things that can basically bring the 9 realms closer together. Because at one point in time, Asgard was Midgard, Earth was the center of the world tree. And now Loki wants to bring that back, because Loki has taken over all the 9 realms, and he needs to just take over the last one, which is Earth. And the Masters of Evil, this entire season, have been his puppets, and the Enchantress have kind of been, stringing them along, doing Loki's evil bidding. The Avengers end up destroying the North Stones, and all hell breaks loose. Now they are all in Asgard, and they have to join back up together, take on Loki, and defeat him. And this is truly a really great trilogy, and is a great example of what the MCU could have been. I am a lover of the MCU. I love the MCU. Has it fallen off over the last few years? Yes, but I love Phase 1. I love Phase 2. I love Phase 3. I have talked about all 3 phases and a lot of MCU projects over the last few years of my career, and go check out my playlist. But I will say this show is a great example of what the MCU could have been. Because I would have loved to have seen the Avengers team up with the heroes of Asgard to take on Loki. And these episodes are so cool. You could see Hulk fight trolls. You see Captain America in hell talking to Hela. You see Hawkeye teaming up with an elf and a bow, and it's so cool. And it's just really awesome, and a really great send-off to the first season of this show that is truly my favorite Marvel show ever. I love this show so much. The 90s show for the, I guess to be specific, the Spider-Man 90s show, Wolverine the X-Men, Hawkeye, and then the Bill Bixby show probably are some of my favorite Marvel TV shows, and this is most certainly up there. I love this show so much. And Loki is cool, and I think you get a real sense that he is really cray-cray. And just kind of seeing Loki succeed in this way, in a way that MCU Loki never really did, is really powerful stuff. Because Loki is, you know, this isn't really mischief. I will say Loki in Marvel has never really been the god of mischief. He's always just been like a really evil douchebag. And of course he gets his comeuppance at the end. We see a really cool like idea of Iron Man using the metal that Thor's hammer's made out of to create an Iron Man armor that shoots like lightning bolts instead of repulsor blasts. Like, it's just a really great finale, full of heroism, awesome bitchin' moments, and just some really cool character beats that truly, you know, highlight what makes this show so great. And I love it. And of course, this season ultimately ends with a Skrull stunning Captain America, being like, the infiltration has begun. And that's how the show ends, with a tease for season 2 to have Secret Invasion and to be more space-based. I will say season 1 is the best season of the 2. I think season 2 kind of has the Young Justice problem of having like the first half be okay episodes sprinkled with some amazing and sprinkles of amazing, and then the second half having more gold than, you know, dirt. But that being said, season 1 is, I think, the superior season and is one of my favorite seasons of superhero television ever. I love season 1, and season 1 is definitely a big piece of why I wanted to talk about this show, because I just wanted to spread my love for this show. And I feel like, now I'm no revolutionary here, but I honestly think that there aren't a lot of videos like this for this show. Sure, there are a lot of, I think, video essays talking about how amazing the show is and perhaps comparing it to the MCU, but there isn't another video series, as far as I can tell, that goes episode by episode talking about everything. I mean, there are for other shows, but not for this show particularly. So I would love to get a conversation going in the comments. And yeah, I love this show. And my favorite episode, I guess, from this volume, before I forget, is probably the Fall of Asgard, because that has, you know, Hulk fighting trolls and us just experiencing what the Avengers are like in the 9 realms before they all have to team up and whoop ass. And what we have some time left. I want to tell you all a little story. So longtime viewers will know that in 2016, my mom, I love you, but you moved us, our entire family, from where I grew up to where she grew up. And like I said, longtime viewers will know that experience wasn't the best for me. I got depressed, I got homesick, and it was a really trying time for me mentally. And it was rough. It was a rough time for me. But while my parents were looking at appliances for their new home, their forever home, I saw volume 1, 2, and 4 in a bargain bin at Best Buy. This was back when Best Buy had DVDs. And I saw these in a bargain bin there. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have to have these. You know, I have to. And of course, I had already owned for years, from 2014 to 2016, volume 6. Because I remember back in 2014, I guess when volume 6 came out, I saw it at a Toys R Us, and I was like, oh mom, can I have this? And I saw that it had like 2 other volumes there, and mom said, look, you can have volume 6, or you can have these other 2. They were essentially the same price, and I had to make an adult decision. So I chose volume 6, and these episodes never really aired in America. We'll get there in the next part probably. But these episodes never really aired in America, so having them, and they did air in Australia, but having them in this way was really neat. And I do actually have quite a bit of nostalgia for these episodes and for this volume. But I had that for years, and just never really thought about completing the set until I saw these at a Best Buy shelf, and revisiting this show meant the world to me. I immediately, a few days later, after watching all 3 of these volumes, I was like, oh, Mom, can you order volume 3 on Amazon? And then I saw volume 5 in a bargain bin at Walmart. It was all coming together so fast, and I watched all of this show. I watched it all that fall in 2016, and it just meant so much to me to revisit this show, to fall in love with this show again, how smart it was, how funny it was, how clever it was, and along with, I guess, original airing, kind of, but like back watching season 1 constantly on Netflix back in the day, you know, and watching, this on DVD. I've seen this show quite a bit of times, maybe like 6 or so, and every time I just appreciate it more, and I appreciate the nostalgia. This video is coming out on Thanksgiving, and I considered putting it out on the 29th, not the 28th, but I decided, you want to know what? This show is so connected to Thanksgiving. I watched the first 13 episodes Thanksgiving Day 2010, and I was like, you want to know what? This show is so connected to Thanksgiving, and I think part of the reason subconsciously why I chose to, make this Project November, despite the fact that that title sounded snazzy, I was like, no, like, this show is so connected to November, so connected to the fall for me, that it only makes sense to review this in November. And it also makes sense to have this episode drop on Thanksgiving Day. So I hope you enjoyed your Thanksgiving. I know I am. And I hope you enjoyed this month, because, we have more coming to you. Now, here's the hiccup. Season 2 is divided into 2 volumes with 2 discs each, making 4 discs in total. I have no idea if I can talk about these 2 volumes in like 2 videos each. So this may be, because I do want to do like a ranking video plus a little bonus episode. So this might actually be a 10 episode miniseries instead of an 8. So who knows? But I'll try my damnedest, because hey, I literally did this episode quicker this time than I did last time. So who knows? But that is it for now. Remember, the guy made special. He loves you very much. Comment below, let me know. What do you think of this show? What are your favorite episodes from season 1? I'd love to hear that. And am I doing good? Because I think I am. And shout out to my niece. Shout out to my sister. I hope you feel better soon. Shout out to all of y'all for watching this and possibly subscribing, stuff like that. All that good stuff. Remember, that God made special. He loves you very much. I hope you're having a very lovely week. I hope you had a very lovely day. I hope you had a very lovely month, since it is Thanksgiving for me, or for you, not for me. As always, God bless, and Avengers assemble.